Perplexing question. Let's imagine somebody's not trying to kill you or your family or anything. They just don't like you. They want to bloody you up. They want to steal your wallet or do something else like this. Now you got a couple of options. You could one, beat them up, and if you're a strong person, you may be able to succeed. Two, you could just run away, or three, you could let them do whatever they wanted. And immediately you're kind of like, isn't this obvious? Well, yeah, it can be, but there's kind of a time and place for a bunch of different stuff, and I don't think it's quite as simple as that. See, like the peaceful protests of Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, the Tank Man in Tiananmen Square, the greatest example of Jesus, who are suffering rebuke, and they're doing so peacefully. In Matthew 5, and that's what kind of inspired this I was reading. It was talking about turning the other cheek. If somebody strikes one cheek, turn to the other one as well. So my question is which one of these requires you to be a stronger man? To run, to fight, or to take it? Which one of these requires you to be stronger? Two, what is the greater opportunity to show love and compassion? And three, what does the most damage to the other person? So I imagine it kind of like this. Let's say a friend or acquaintance or something was ticked off at me, not because I'd really wronged them in some way. They just didn't like me. Anyway, and so because I love this person, I just refuse to fight. I'm not going to fight you. And so then they just go to work. And let's say they struck me, and in the middle of it, I just said, I forgive you. I'm not going to fight you. And then they just kept going to work until they left me a little bit of a bloody mess. Do you think they would ever forget that? What would that do to someone? What would that do to me if I was beating someone up and every time I beat them down, they looked at me with eyes of love and compassion and said, I forgive you for it? I think that would wreck me forever. I don't know. And I'm not saying that I would do that. I don't know if I'd even be strong enough. But I recognize that guys like Martin Luther King Jr. did exactly that. And you know his name because of that. There's lots of people who fought the oppression, but sometimes not fighting back is a much greater display of strength. It is a very loving thing to do. It'll promote the most change and inflict the most damage on someone else in an edifying way, not wanting to hurt them. But anyway, I'm just trying to make a little bit more well-rounded people. But I understand what Jesus was talking about now when he says, turn the other cheek. And some people may call Jesus foolish because ultimately he would do the ultimate turning of the other cheek, where he'd be tortured, defamed, humiliated, and murdered on behalf of others when he could have wiped everyone out, and instead he just took it to act as a sacrifice on our behalf. And some people may call him foolish, but nobody dare call him weak over it. A guy who doesn't even cry out about it. Yeah, can't really wrap my head around that. But what do you guys think? On a different note, there's a real big time to actually go to work, to fight, to kill. Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time for peace and a time for war, a time to heal, a time to kill. The trick is to know what to do when. We're not just warriors. We're not just poets. Let's be warrior poets.